making motorbikes. We started our journey sometime in 2005, 2006. In automobiles, if you look at two-wheeler industry, including China, 72% of 60 million comes from this region. So 72%, and it is growing at a CAGR of 10 to 12%, which is very healthy. If you look at the premium bikes, the bikes above 500 cc, you will see many countries like Europe, US comes in. If you look at a bike used by a common man, this is the place. India, China, always there is a competition between, this is internal consumption of China, India, China, then Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, Philippines. I think all the countries are growing. And interestingly, if you look at the statistics, Japanese brands have got the major market share in this market. Practically 85–90% of the market is dominated by the Japanese, whether it is two-wheelers, cars, trucks. And this is happening over the last 5 decades. Next. Our experience when we went in 2005 as a company to get into this market, there are a lot of similarities in terms of the customers' understanding in these markets. I have one slide I try to capture it. Before that, I got an opportunity, such a great audience, so I have to talk about TVS. At least 1 minute I have to talk about TVS, otherwise I don't think I'm doing my job from the company point of view. 1980 we started, and we are in 2014. Fairly robust journey in terms of two-wheelers. We have the full range, starting from moped to motorcycles to scooters. And our joint design and development with BMW will come up with a model which is going to be really aspirational. I can't comment on the timeline, but the project is going as per plan. We started Indonesia sometime in 2006, and these are the models what we make in India. And I have a separate slide on what we make. This year we are likely to be about 2.6 million, slightly better than, we will be growing little over 30%. In terms of TVS, it is a 100-year-old brand. 1911, a company started, the group started. Today, the group is about 8 billion, more than 200,000 employees directly, and very strongly a company with a lot of values in terms of trust, value, exactness, and passion for customers. I had actually added 5 minutes, Chairman, but I'm skipping because you have limited my presentation to 10 minutes. There is a small saying, globally now, I can use the word globally, if anything on wheels, there will be at least one part from TVS. It could be fasteners, it could be tires, it could be brakes, it could be electricals, it could be anything, brakes. So anything on wheels, there will be at least one part from TVS. And many companies have won the Japanese Deming Quality Award, the Grand Award, and the TPM Excellence Award. Why I am highlighting, I will be correlating between these countries with 90% Japanese market share, and I want to highlight there is a huge opportunity if brand India is visible in these countries. Because one of the issues what we have seen, specifically in Indonesia, I'll share with you, those customers who have bought our products, they are extremely happy. But interestingly, they know only Japanese, they know only Chinese, they don't know India. They know Shah Rukh Khan, but they don't know India. They know Amitabh Bachchan, but they don't know India. These are the products what we have designed. These 4 products, the Neo, Rox, Tormax, and DAS, these are unique. You may not see it in India because the type of customers, they are short, they drive very fast, very narrow street. So we have to develop products which are unique to those markets. We have designed, developed these products for the market in Indonesia. We have a plant there, and these products are being sold there. And we are also exporting these products to various other countries like Myanmar and Philippines, and we are now trying to look at Cambodia, Lagos, all these markets. But this is the typical type of farm which is being used there. And of course, our three-wheeler. We have just started selling our three-wheelers in Indonesia. What we have seen in terms of people, very nice people. I think like Indians, it's very pleasant, very affiliative society. They are all, family comes the first priority, very good-natured, very hardworking, highest level of learnability. Highest level of learnability. They may have certain weaknesses in terms of literacy, in terms of educational institutions, but once you teach them, I think the ability to adhere. In fact, I would rate little better than many of us in terms of possibly, because all these countries, people have been associated with the Japanese brands, and Japanese brands have done a very good job in terms of discipline, quality, fires, in fact, every hotel where we stay, I used to look at the flowers. I think it will be so fresh. And you touch the table, you can't see dust. Okay, are they indicators? They are definitely indicators of quality. They are very, very high levels of quality and very high discipline. That is what we have seen. And they are very, very humble, very humble. Why I am saying is, these are all similarities with our culture, our philosophy. In terms of why is it then we are not able to gain significant market share? Simple. While the products, customers like mileage, durability, engine quality, drive comfort, I think it comes back to brand image, brand image, brand image. Because everyone thinks that this is a good product. Would you recommend? Definitely we will recommend. This is like Japanese, but then, India, we don't know. So there is a problem. 95% of the market is not aware. I can even put 99, but I don't want to, displease ourselves that we don't know many of these countries. I'm not at all surprised with the statistics what my colleagues presented, that many of the other people travel, our own people don't travel. I think it is not an exaggeration, because if we don't travel, if we don't interact, how does brand India get established in these markets? Interestingly, this is well known. The next slide, please. Next slide. This is well known. This is very well known. And I'm not a guy, first time I don't see movies. So somebody told me, I think you should make this slide for this audience. So he has prepared and given it to me. I think, so they know India. And another interesting thing, I think there is an agency, we have co-sponsored with them. The Mahabharat serial which is going on in India, it is going on in Indonesia. So we have sponsored it. In that we have put our products, and people are able to look at TVS now very clearly. Reality. Next. Now we are going to take our Arjunas and Bhimas to Indonesia. There is a huge connect, but how do we leverage the connect is the challenge. Next slide, please. We do quite a lot in terms of connecting with the customer, including, because Indonesia, so many, end to end, if you look at, it's such a big island, and connectivity is very, very difficult. But we make sure that every customer gets service within 24 hours. So there are product-related focus, service-related, and spare parts-related. We have completely integrated with IT, and the systems are fairly robust there in terms of, because that is required. 360 degrees brand building is required in these markets. And if I summarize, when I look at these countries, definitely I am not a marketing guy, okay? Because this is a slide which I thought that we need to start from strengthening the basics in terms of connectivity, relations, projecting ourselves what we have, build confidence, gain trust through consistency, because everything has to be delivered consistently. There is no point in on-off, which we are very good at. We start, very good initiative, then it gets stopped. That is of no use. There has to be consistency. And every touch point, we should make sure that we delight that experience. I think then India will become a preferred brand because of the three reasons. The biggest population, youngest population, practically 75 to 80% of the trade happens in this country. And I have a recommendation also, because any forum when you come, There are three areas I feel, other than Bollywood and Mahabharat, really if you have to touch people, I think educational institutions like Symbiosis has got a huge opportunity in these countries. Okay? This is not an exaggeration because we have 300 valued employees. I can tell you each one of them are equal to an Indian employee. Really good. They want to make a difference, and in certain areas, they are much more refined. They are much more refined because this is a market where if somebody buys a bike, he keeps it inside his house and he sleeps outside. Because it's such a great investment in his life. Okay, he puts 4 hours or 5 hours of leave while the service is going on, he sits closer to the bike. So that is the level of connect. Okay? In terms of healthcare, I think we have more than 8.5 lakh doctors. Even I got the statistics, which is a real statistics. In India, you have a, I don't want to talk about heart surgery, eye surgery, etc., etc. Simple fever and cold, $5, you get a good treatment. Even if you pay $50, you don't get a good treatment here. Okay, so we have such a educated 8.5 lakh population of doctors. Today, you know, telemetrics is not a difficult thing. We have more than 600 universities. Every year we are getting 3 million graduates, and the healthcare is so effective here. Skill development is so effective here. There is a huge opportunity for the entire ASEAN group, along with we can leverage brand India. There is a huge opportunity for our country to succeed, our brand to succeed, this entire region to succeed. Thank you. I think it was a great opportunity given to me. I tried to rush up faster. Thank you so much.
Thank you for presenting in 10 minutes a fascinating picture. Thank you very much. May I now invite Dr. Sheshadri to make the concluding presentation of this session.
I think that was temporarily due to sitting for long. Well, Chairman Ambassador Sanjay Singh, and distinguished co-panelists, Excellencies, my several former ambassador colleagues, scholars, students, and ladies and gentlemen. I thank the organizers for inviting me and for a first-timer in Pune. It's an impressive city. With a university like yours forming an important part of that impression. One cannot help feeling that if India had several universities like yours, then we will easily meet the challenges emerging in this world. The topic I will speak on will be one such challenge that the students of today, not just from India, but from various other countries also, will have to meet, arising from the looming changes on the international trading and investment framework. The changes are arising to a significant extent from the more dynamic East that we are talking about, be it Look East or Act East, and I'm talking about ASEAN, the East Asia, and the larger Asia Pacific. And we have heard earlier about the production models that have changed the landscape in this part of the world, and how there could be arguments. And here is where I believe your economics department, your law department, and international relations department have to look at the emerging trade and international framework and how it is progressing and what should be the interests of countries like India. So, what's happening is that certain key FTA, mega FTAs, next slide, These include the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP in short, presently comprising 12 of APEC members, of which 4 are from ASEAN, Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam, Japan from East Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and from the other side of the Pacific, we have US, Canada, Mexico, Chile, and Peru. The second is the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP in short. These are the ASEAN 10+6 dialogue partners, that is Australia, China, India, Japan, Korea, and New Zealand. Now, important to note that India is a member of these negotiations. And of course, the third, which is the proposal that is still very much on the drawing board, which is the free trade area of the Asia Pacific, or FTAAP in short, which comprises 21 APEC members, since it is the APEC where it is being conceived, but its membership is still a question mark, whether it will include all of APEC, will it be more of APEC, etc. I'll come to it later. If you want next, in terms of a figurative representation of these international trade agreements, the 2 circles denote members of TPP on the right and RCEP on the left, and a rectangle that is exploring. And this envelopes possible potential members of FTAAP, the rectangle. 7 countries in the middle are in all the 3. That is Japan, Brunei, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Australia, and New Zealand. While India is only, as of now, in one of them. I must add here, though, as I said earlier, the membership of FTAAP is still not decided. Now, this slide will indicate why we call them mega FTAs. It's because of their size and the share of world trade they cover. Any of them, when concluded, will have a substantial impact on world trading framework. The first to get concluded may be the TPP. Now, it does not have China or India, but it contributes to 38% of world GDP share and a quarter of world trade, although in terms of population, it accounts for only 11.2%. The next that may get concluded, while the scheduled date is end of 2015, but expectation is it will go much beyond. Their world GDP share is only 30% or so, although it includes in terms of population, because both China and India are in almost half of the world. And their world share combined is again just a little over a quarter. And if FTAAP, with APEC as its membership gets concluded, of course it will be far bigger. Now, several of these countries, the Asia Pacific, have also entered into bilateral or other sub-regional FTAs, and some are also under negotiations. Now, if you see this table, and this includes not only bilateral FTAs, but also trilateral or regional FTAs they are entering into, you will see that Chile and Singapore are perhaps the front runners in this exercise, and USA itself, with 14 FTAs signed, has also taken some lead. India has also signed about 11 FTAs, and 8 more are under negotiations, but these are not what I would call high standard FTAs. I will come to what I mean by that a little later. Now, complicating this picture, but a development which will also impact on the world trading framework, are 3 plurilateral negotiations which have begun. One is the Trade in Services Agreement, called TISA, in which 50 countries are participating currently. Of course, not only from Asia Pacific, but also from other countries, and this is happening outside of the World Trading Organization framework. Likewise, the proposed Information Technology Agreement 2, India incidentally is a member of ITA 1, but we are not currently looking at becoming a member of ITA 2, but 52 countries are part of this core group, and the idea is to have a broader set of products, including, let's say, smartphone, which did not exist at the time of ITA 1, to include those products. Now, the basic idea is to bring down tariffs on these products to zero within a short period. And then there is the Environmental Goods Agreement initiative. The negotiations began in July 2014, and 41 countries are participating in this initiative, which again, the objective is to bring down the tariff to zero or close to zero very shortly. Of course, here the objective is to bring about better environment. Now, the question arises, why the surge in mega FTAs and plurilateral agreements? There are perhaps many reasons for this. For one, it's almost 20 years since the Uruguay round was completed, and the Doha round, which began in 2001, seems stalled, although it may perhaps revive now that the Bali knot has been untangled with an agreement reached on food security and trade facilitation very recently. In the Doha round negotiations, developing countries like India have pointed to inflexible positions of developed countries, particularly on reduction of agricultural subsidies or liberalizing trade in agriculture as per the Doha mandate. In fact, the developed countries, on the other hand, are pushing for agreements in selective areas like trade facilitation, something that has already been agreed upon, or deeper liberalization in certain select sectors of particular interest to them, as I mentioned to you, the ITA 2, or services, or environmental goods. Also, the earlier attempts by them to introduce investment, competition, etc., into the strategy as part of the Doha mandate, that had failed. Now, presumably, their strategy is to first agree on high standards in plurilateral or regional FTAs like TPP, and then bring these and other subjects into WTO through the back door. Now, let me then briefly sketch to you what are the key elements in the 3 mega FTAs under negotiation. As for TPP itself, it has been projected as a high standard, 21st century agreement with several chapters dealing with both, and this is important, not only border measures. If you look at WTO agreement, they largely deal with border measures, that is tariffs or non-tariff barriers, etc. But these seek to go on behind the border measures, which are largely domestic policy issues. I shall not go into too many details here, but I would like to point out 4 distinguishing features of TPP. 1, far deeper liberalization than existing FTAs. What do I mean by that? They are talking about tariff liberalization almost to the extent of 98 or 99%, if not 100%, on the entire list of products. And also deeper liberalization. What does it mean? Bringing the tariffs down almost to zero. And in the services sector, what does deeper liberalization mean? They are thinking of introducing a negative list approach. Now, what is this negative list approach? Because in WTO, we have the General Agreement on Trade in Services, which goes by the positive list approach, which means either the telecom services or the financial services or various other services. Each country indicates what are the services where it is willing to liberalize and how far. But a negative list approach will be that what are the services which you do not want to liberalize.